In today's world, it's really important to consider the sustainability of the products we use. After all, we all share the same earth, we all use the same resources, so we really owe it to ourselves and to our future generations out there to consider how what we do now will affect that future. That's why today we want to give you guys some info on how to keep your products sustainable and eco-friendly, as well as introduce you to some of the best, most sustainable eco-friendly products on the market. Being environmentally friendly nowadays is not what it seems. It's not what it used to be. The term recyclable doesn't have or hold as much weight as it used to. And just because something says recyclable or has a stamp that says recyclable on it doesn't mean it is actually recycled, even if it is donated to a recycling center. And the material I am talking about most specifically is plastic. Just because plastic can be recycled doesn't mean it is. You see, it takes a lot of money to recycle plastic and kind of transform it back into a reusable good. And because of the high costs that it takes in order to recycle plastic compared to the relatively low cost of brand new plastic, it's not really viable to recycle plastic in terms of dollars and cents. And in a world where pretty much everything is done in terms of the money, it's really hard to make that justification. That's why the US in the past has shipped plastic and trash to China, where it can be recycled more effectively or more efficiently or in larger batches and things like that. However, recently China is no longer accepting that from the US. And that's likely due to the environmental impacts and the costs associated with those burdens. The money doesn't follow the practice. So for example, 55% of recycling centers will accept plastic, but only 5% of the plastic they accept ever actually is transformed or recycled into a reusable good. You see, there has to be a balance between the cost of using something or creating something from scratch against the cost of recycling or transforming something into a reusable thing. The cheaper the cost of creating something from scratch, the cheaper the cost of recycling that thing has to be to make it more viable to do. So what materials out there are actually recyclable and recycled in mass? So the most recycled materials out there, in no particular order, by percentage that are actually recycled and reused, are going to be metals like aluminum and steel, glass, rubber, which by the way is an elastic kind of polymer. Polymer is pretty much the same relative compound to plastic, but elastic polymers like rubber can be used differently in many different ways that plastic can't really be used. For example, making car tires, paving roads, things like that. And don't forget cardboard and paper, which are relatively cheap actually to recycle and reuse because they often contain things like wood pulp and other natural ingredients. And this is why you really want to consider moving away from plastics when you look for any kind of product out there, whether it's in men's grooming or anything you buy at the store. Now let's talk about why organic material matters. When you hear the word organic, your mind probably immediately goes to food. At least that's what happens in my mind. And that's because organic foods have just had a huge spike in popularity recently due to the inherent health benefits and the benefits to the environment as well. Now, organic is defined as relating to or derived from living matter. Now, that doesn't have to be like a living mammal, like meat products or anything like that. It could just be something that hasn't been processed or tampered, instead of just harvested by humans. And organic material is more eco-friendly. Why? Well, real simply, it's not distinctly touched, tampered, or industrialized by us, since we tend to pollute the environment much more than we know anything else does. Organic materials, whether they be food or goods or anything like that, are often much more expensive to procure simply because of the costs associated with smaller batch sizes. Without the power of pesticides and GMOs and modern production, farming, and things like that, gathering organic materials just doesn't yield as much as if we were to use those modern production methods. So the simple truth is that being organic, despite the marginal increase in the cost involved, actually helps reduce carbon emissions because of a lack of human involvement, a lack of processing plants and machinery and chemicals that are used that can actually also harm important insects like bees. And here today we can give you just a few examples from our own product lines in which we try and do the same thing. We try and be as eco-friendly as possible. For example, Volt's Beard Balm and Beard Wax come in these aluminum tins. Now, like we mentioned before, aluminum is one of the most recycled and profitably recyclable materials out there that you can buy. And of course, everything that we actually put in the Sculpt Wax and the Volt Beard Balm are going to be organic as well. Organic oils, organic butters like shea butter and mango butter, as well as pine rosin and wax. Now we can say the same thing about Volt's beard oil. We have a glass container here. This is an aluminum top cap here with a rubber and glass dropper. And again, Volt's beard oil, 100% natural organic ingredients. So guys, today we just wanted to give you some information on what to look for in terms of eco-friendly and environmentally sustainable products. Hopefully you guys found this video interesting. If you liked it, please hit like and subscribe. If you're curious about more fun facts or interesting topics like these, leave us a comment, ask us a question. We'd love to get back to you. If you happen to be interested in eco-friendly men's grooming products, we'll have a link to our entire catalog of products down in the description for you to just browse and look at. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for staying green with us here at Volt, and we will see you in the next video.